Today I have my grandfather, Peter Calaboyias, with me. He was born in Ikaria, Greece, and immigrated to Johnstown, Pennsylvania in September of 1946. And he was born in 1940. Now my question is, what happened in between those 6 years before when you were born, between when you left?
Those were the years known as World War II. Hitler was starting to make inroads into Poland and Eastern Europe. And Eastern Europe consists of Greece and Poland and Bulgaria, the Baltic states. And Greece was involved in that. So the invasion by the Germans in 1941 into Greece, they captured the island. They stayed for a while, then they moved on, and Mussolini, having a pact with Hitler, the Italians then came over to the Aegean Islands and governed the eastern part of Greece during that time in 1942.
Now, when you did leave, were you pushed or pulled out of Greece?
What happened was, because it was wartime, the scarcity of food on the island created a famine. And in our village alone, and I was 2 years old at the time, under 150 people of the village died from starvation. Because we were right on the beach, we were robbed easily by the soldiers, and my mother decided either we stay on the island, take our chances, and maybe die there, or if she could leave to go to Turkey, she may be saved, because she had migrated to America with my father. She became an American citizen. But on her return in 1939, and she was pregnant with me at the time, she came to visit her family, but they told her not to go. The war was going to break out, and sure enough it did. She got caught in the middle of it, could not return. And that's why I was born on the island. And so one evening, there was a fellow who had a rowboat in the middle of the night. We went down to the dark shore. He put us in the rowboat, and for 3 days and 3 nights, we rowed past Samos and landed on the shores of Turkey.
After they arrived in Turkey, another man took them to the African Congo, where they stayed in a refugee camp for months. They were forced to live on rations such as 1 egg a day. My grandfather became incredibly close with the natives there. A little while later, they crossed the Atlantic Ocean by ferry boat to come to America. So, would you say your migration was forced or voluntary?
Forced for the pure reason of survival. Either we die on the island, many of our relatives, or we might have a chance to save ourselves.
Since you left Greece, how much interaction have you had with the country and the people there?
During the 40s and 50s, late 40s and 50s and 60s, we ended up in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. That was our home. We had a little restaurant. We always talked about going back to Greece, but in those years, it was difficult to return. But going by boat, ocean liner, was the way to go, and it was very expensive. So my interaction didn't start until 1972, and I returned with my mother and my sisters to the island.
How did your father know to go to Cambridge, Ohio?
He went to Cambridge, Ohio, when he migrated here in the 1914, 1915. Many of the people from Greece, especially young men, came to earn money to send back to help their families. They didn't come here to get married, they just came here for a short while. But as a short while went on, many of them stayed here because they could not return, but they continued to support the families in Greece.
Was the steel industry in Pittsburgh a large reason why your generation came here?
Well, it was not only Pittsburgh, it was throughout western Pennsylvania, and it attracted all the Eastern Europeans, the Czechoslovakians, the Polish, the Bulgarians, the Armenians, and the Greeks and the Italians. So it was the industry that allowed them to work, the big industry of steel.
How did the fact that Pittsburgh was so far away from your home country affect the people's willingness and ability to come here?
Because they collected in little towns where they knew each other, either relatives or distant relatives, they spoke the same language, and they felt comfortable having their own little neighborhood. And when they created their own little churches, So they actually established a small Greek community, and that's where they collected.
Did the distance affect how many people came here?
Not so, because they were willing to go to the ends of the earth just to survive and earn a living. And they're throughout the United States, everywhere.
Did the people who went to America send money back to Ikaria?
Yes, because the young men had one major objective: to make sure that their sisters had a dowry so they could get married. So the young men sent money back for that purpose for the young girls.
How did it affect the people there? Did it lead to more people coming to America, and does that still continue today?
It continued up to the 1950s, mid-1950s. There was still migration from Eastern Europe. But with the economy developing much better in Europe, many people just stayed there. And those that were very wealthy during the war did not come here. Only those that were poor came here. So we're the immigrants of, people that were on the bottom end of the pay scale.
Now, do you consider the Pan-Icarian Brotherhood as part of that giving back?
Well, the Pan-Icarian Brotherhood is a very fine example of the Icarians from my island that came here to Edgewater Steel in Verona, and they formed a little group and then decided to make the Pan-Icarian Brotherhood to help the younger Greeks who were migrating here to find jobs. And then as they grew and collected money and foundations, which started in the 1960s, now they're helping the hospitals in Greece. They're sending scholarships for young boys from the island to go to school. So they've been of a great help to the island natives.
All right, I think that's it.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed talking to you, my grandson.
Thank you.